You're looking at the 113-pound Division II state championship match in the purple singlets. A sophomore from Ellsworth, an undefeated 36-0 record. Jens Lantz, he was a state champion last year. And for Port Washington, they're in the white singlets. A freshman comes in 29-6. Zach Smith.
Yeah, and you know, Shane, do not be fooled by that record by Zach Smith. He's wrestled a very tough schedule. He's been beaten by some national level wrestlers, and here in Wisconsin, I think if you would take a look at his Wisconsin record alone, you'd probably be very impressed. With 6 losses, we think, oh, this is going to be a cakewalk here. But Zach Smith brings a lot of energy, a lot of power to this weight class. Jens Lantz is he's very methodical, makes very few mistakes. He hasn't been scored on all year. 36 matches. He's given up a couple escapes here and there, but he beat Tommy Thorne from St. Michael Albertville, and he's very, very difficult to score on. So this is a clash of styles completely, and don't sleep on Zach Smith.
For Lantz, a year ago, a state champion, he beat Zach Cerny, who we just saw claim the 106-pound title. He beat Cerny last year 8-5, and this year for Lantz, Ellsworth Invitational champion, won the bi-state near the holidays. He's a Middle Border Conference champion. And one thing with Jens Lantz, and I think this is so important, Kevin, the opportunities provided by USA Wrestling, Wisconsin Wrestling Federation. He does the Greco freestyle scene, very successful in those two styles as well. And those styles in Greco and freestyle, and you'll hear us talk about it a lot, it's the different positions. It all works together. It teaches you to compete, puts you in some uncomfortable positions, but it's seeking the best competition that you can find to get you better. And it's nights like tonight where that stuff really pays off. Yeah,
definitely. And last year for Jens too, in the finals, it helped him tremendously in a couple scramble situations with Cerny. And Zach Smith has wrestled a very tough national schedule too. Both of them were on the cadet national team in Fargo last summer, and Smith won a couple matches out there as an 8th grade wrestler. You know, he was 8th grader last year, won kids state championship as well. And Jens was 1 match away from placing in freestyle. So both of them do have a lot of.
All right. I want to look at this, Kevin. If I saw that correctly, and I saw a little bit of confusion perhaps, it's kind of hard to tell up here, but I think Zach Smith, and we'll pay attention to this, I think Zach Smith just had choice. I think he did, and I think he deferred.
Yeah, he did, and it's 0-0, Lantz picked bottom, and these are always interesting in close matches. There is no score on the mat, or on the feet. These guys are both very controlling wrestlers in the top position. You never know, it could come down to overtime. It could come down to who scores first to get choice. And when you have the opportunity to choose, I believe you should choose. Make a choice.
Unless you're super confident that you're going to score on top. Whatever choice you make, it's got to be one that you believe is your best opportunity to score. And great coaches there at Port Washington with Angelo LaRosa and Mad Sawaska. And across the way, of course, the legendary Hall of Fame coach Jack Radabaugh. Now the head coach is Chad Stout there at Ellsworth.
Yeah, and you know, you'd like to give that opportunity for the kids to choose and empower the kids to make the choice. But everywhere we go in life, we're faced with choices, and we have to make choices, and hopefully we make the correct choices. Sometimes you make the wrong choice and you learn from that, but you also want to get as much, you know, background information before you make educated choices. In wrestling, we are given choices, but we often don't choose. And to me, that is a little frustrating. I know it frustrates you too. And there's a stalling call on Lantz right there, stalling call.
I'm impressed with Smith so far. He's done a nice job to move forward, maintaining good position. Oh, nice shot there from Lantz.
Yeah, Smith is going to scramble. He's a scrambler too, so.
And right here about getting your hips up, who's going to elevate the highest is going to win the scramble.
Yeah, and Jens Lantz is a very good scrambler. Sometimes the scramble in that situation is a good example. It's the guy who lasts the longest in a position. It wins the scramble. You saw Zach Smith bailed out there, and you know, maybe he could have still rolled through or something, but I don't know if he didn't want to give up near fall, so he bailed out. So Jens won the scramble by default, essentially because Smith bailed out from the scramble position.
Lantz 3-0. Short time, 20 seconds in the second period. Lantz is a Greco and freestyle state champion. And talking about Zach Smith earlier, Kevin, you talked about the schedule and the tough losses. You look at Port Washington, I believe they wrestle Spartan Duels at Luxembourg Casco early December. They wrestle at Pulaski end of the year, which is a great tournament here in Wisconsin. Cheesehead, of course, and he was 8th at the Cheesehead, which is pretty big accomplishment.
Fall here, half Nelson. Lantz has got him turned over towards the end of the period. Oh, that was a close.
So close.
Scored at the end of the period, though, Shane, and I know that's something that you often reference to, and Lantz added 2 near fall right at the end of the period. I tell you what, they're in the 3rd period now. 6-0 is like an eternity against Jens Lantz. In any style, being down by 6 against Jens Lantz is nearly like a gap that you can't close. I don't want to jinx him. I'm just saying he's such a good position-based wrestler, and he understands where he's at and doesn't make mistakes. It's hard to come back from a 6-0 lead.
I always talk about short time. I talk about winning a big minute in the match. What I mean by that is the final 20 seconds of the 1st, 2nd, 3rd period. You win that 1 minute, and you are going to win a ton of matches. And as you mentioned, that's what great guys find a way to do. They don't give up points inside of 20 seconds. They're going to ride a kid out for the final 20 seconds, find a way to escape. If they're on top, they're going to do all they can for a back point. And I think what it is, Kevin, they don't settle. Right. They don't settle. It's constant pressure.
Yes, exactly. And you and I talked about this during the break. It's that you don't compromise, your standards, your excellence. And the quote that I shared with Shane was that it's easier to live up to your standards 100% of the time than it is 99% of the time, because once you compromise your standards once, it's easier to compromise them later. And 20 seconds in a match, left in a match, to compromise those standards can affect you elsewhere. So there are Lantz was in on just a nice basic single, and Smith tried you got to try it there on the edge. He was down by 6, tried to kick him over, and he gave up the takedown there. It's 2-2, now it's 8-0 for Lantz.
Now an 8-0 score. Lantz 40 seconds away from his 2nd state championship. We're going to see Jared Denard gunning for his 4th, and of course, before you get 4, you got to get 2, and that's Lantz's mission here tonight.
Exactly, and then it comes down to taking every match 1 at a time, and that's why Jared Denard is in the position he is tonight, is because he's understood that. He has not looked ahead, he hasn't looked past people. You take him 1 match at a time, and Jens Lantz has done that all year, and he's done it well, and he's really dominated the entire field. Everyone he's wrestled, he's wrestled nationally ranked opponents, national champions, and he's just gone through just like this, 8-0. He pitched a shutout in this event, and he's extremely difficult to score on, and he scores points. He's just so methodical. He's just so solid.
Lantz had a pin, and then in the semis, a 5-0, and here in the finals, he'll tack on a couple of more. A 10-0 major for Jens Lantz of Ellsworth, your 2012 113-pound state champion.
Boom! Hey, where are you going? You can't get by me. I'm #1 in this class. I rule this lab. I'm #1. Hey, I don't think so. Yes! Winner! I am the king! Woo!
You wouldn't do it there. So, don't do it here. Sportsmanship. It's up to you.
What?
Jerk.